Welcome back to another Life of Ghost Hunters podcast. My name is Nick Sarlo with Shadow Hunters Paranormal Investigation and Events. And welcome. This is actually our first podcast. We're very, very excited about this. We thought about it and we wanted to bring you a podcast all about true crime, haunted history, different like paranormal stories, and anything like that. So if you guys are brand new, please consider hitting subscribe, like, and sharing this video. You can see our podcast. We're going to try to get them out every week if we can. Sometimes it can be a little hard to, but we're going to try to get them out every week, and we're going to try to shoot for every Wednesday, maybe around like 7 p.m., 8 p.m. lunchtime. But we'll definitely let you know. Make sure you stay updated with us. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. So, with that being said, welcome to the podcast. So tonight I wanted to kind of start with a chilling story that I actually just heard of. I don't know, this was like a couple weeks ago that I've heard of this, and I was surprised I've never heard of it. And I thought it would be really cool to cover this story for our first podcast, and it being from Illinois, as that's where Shadow Hunters is from. The whole story starts in Coles County, Illinois. Place marked by cornfields, quiet town, and slow stretch of the Embarrass River. Coles County it's like a very wide open stretch of farmland in Illinois, and it's actually by Ashmore Estates, which is a fantastic haunted location. If you guys have never heard of it, which I don't know why you guys wouldn't have, it's a really great haunted location run by Robin Terry. Actually, I take that wrong. I take that back. It is not run by Robin Terry anymore, but it used to be run by Robin Terry, as he did pass it down now. So there's this river, and hidden within the quiet rural Let me start over. And hidden within the quiet rural backdrop lies a sinister secret of the Embarrass River. I think I'm saying that correctly. A crime that was so brutal and chilling, it still echoes across decades. We're talking about the Airtight Bridge murder. This discovery was made in the 1980s near Charleston, Illinois, where a headless, mutilated body was found beneath the Airtight Bridge. I've never heard of Airtight Bridge before, but now after reading the story, I definitely want to go and just to see if there's any type of paranormal activity that's there. There's a steel structure out there that has become notorious for ghost stories, whispers of the paranormal, and of course an unsolved murder that left investigators gasping for answers. Tonight we're going to walk through kind of the history of the bridge itself and the horrifying details of the murder, the investigation that spanned decades, and why this lonely crossing has earned a reputation not just as a crime scene, but as one of Illinois' most haunted places. So, if you guys are watching on your TV, your phone, dim the lights, get the popcorn ready, get your favorite drinks, and let's dive into it. The Airtight Bridge is a 190-foot long steel truss bridge built in 1914. Its name, Airtight, sparks curiosity. Some say it comes from the dense sitting air of the nearby woods and river bottoms. Others believe it's because the fog often settles all over the river, making the bridge seem sealed off from the rest of the world. Whatever the truth, the name itself carries an unsettling weight. Locals will tell you that long before the murder, Airtight Bridge already had a reputation. Teenagers used it as a hangout with which teens usually do. They kind of go where they could do graffiti or, just cause mischief. They're teens. Couples came here late at night, and with its rusting steel and isolated location, it became the kind of place where ghost stories thrive. People whispered about the strange lights on the river, apparitions crossing the span, disembodied voices that drifted up from the water below. By the 1980s, the bridge already had some eerie mystique, but nothing could have prepared Coles County for what would soon be discovered there. On October 19th, 1980, it's a cool autumn day. The river flows steady underneath the Airtight Bridge, carrying leaves downstream. A passerby walking near the area notices something strange beneath the bridge, something caught in the brush along the riverbank. It was a body. I don't know about you, but if I'm walking along something and I see a body, I would be a little freaked out, just a little bit. But not just anybody. The remains were gruesome. The victim was a woman, unclothed, and horrifyingly, her head, hands, and feet were missing, mutilated, almost as if someone wanted to erase her identity completely. Police were called immediately. The Coles County deputies swarmed the scene. Investigators described it as one of the most disturbing crime scenes they have ever encountered. Who was this woman? Why here? And why such brutality? The crime shocked the rural community. Airtight Bridge wasn't just a backroad curiosity anymore, it was a murder scene. Forensic experts struggled to identify her. With no head, no hands, no feet, traditionally, identification was impossible. For nearly 2 decades, the woman became known as the Airtight Bridge Jane Doe. Leads were few and far between. In 1980, DNA technology was still not quite there. Detectives had little to go on. The brutality suggested rage or someone determined to conceal the victim's identity. But without witness, without forensics, and without a name, the case went cold. For years, locals speculated, was it a drifter, someone passing through, a woman from Charleston, Mattoon, or one of the small towns scattered nearby? Theories swirled, but answers never came. It wasn't until the early 1900s when DNA profiling began reshaping criminal investigations. It wasn't until the early 1990s when DNA profiling began reshaping criminal investigations. In 1992, authorities finally identified the victim. She was Carla Beth, I'm not going to say the last name, a 23-year-old mother from Kankakee, Illinois. She had been missing since October 1980, the very same time her mutilated body was found under Airtight Bridge. With a name, investigators turned to the people closest to her. One man in particular stood out. Her husband, Larry. Larry had a reputation. Friends and neighbors described him as vital. Their marriage was troubled, and in weeks after Carla's disappearance, Larry's behavior raised suspicions. Still, in 1980s, authorities didn't have enough evidence to charge him. I think back in the time frame, of the 1980s, I would still think that, people would go to the closest person to her, whether it be brother, sister, husband, anything like that. But DNA changed that. In 1992, evidence connected him to the murder after 12 long years. Larry was finally arrested. He was convicted in 1992 and sentenced to 75 years in prison for Carla's brutal murder. The crime forever branded Airtight Bridge as more than just a steel crossing over the river. It became a place of legend, a place where tragedy and trauma left a scar. Since the 1980s, countless people have reported paranormal activity around the bridge. Well, of course. But the thing is, Carla was not murdered at Airtight Bridge. It's just she was murdered far away. And her body he needed a place to put the body, and she ended up floating down by the river. So, it can still have some paranormal activity to it because of her soul they usually say, like, if it was a tragic death, the soul really never passes on. So maybe the soul followed her body, and that's what could be causing the paranormal activity. Some say they've seen a woman in white lingering near the riverbanks, which is where Carla's body was found, believed to be Carla herself. Others hear screams echoing off the steel frame late at night, even when the bridge is empty. Ghost hunters who visited reported cold spots, unexplained electromagnetic readings, and strange orbs in photos. Many described the overwhelming feeling of being watched, especially when standing in the center of the bridge after dark. And perhaps most chilling, some visitors claim they've seen a headless apparition in near the water, a figure that vanishes when approached. Is it Carla's restless spirit searching for parts of her body that were stolen? Or is it the collective memory of the community projected into the darkness of the woods and the flow of the river? Either way, Airtight Bridge is more than a true crime location, it's a haunting, both in history and in spirit. It's weird that these kind of stories, these kind of stories creep me out, especially when they happen in the state that you're in. Illinois, you really don't think. So if this were to happen to me, I would definitely freak out. I mean, you're just walking around the river banks, and so I like to fish a lot. So, going fishing, and all of a sudden I see like this body or something, like I would definitely freak out. I'd be running to the cops, just like they did. Now, whether it's haunted or not, I don't know. I have no clue. We've never been there. Now, like I said before, Carla's body was thrown in the river because I think, from what I was reading, is the actual crime itself happened far away. And he kind of got desperate and chopped her arms off, chopped her heads off, she doesn't have two heads. Let me repeat that. Chopped her head off and her legs and just kind of threw her torso in the river. Now, from what I've read, he took all the other body parts too, put them in, what did it say, a chest, and locked it up. Now, there's a story on there that he also did this in front of his 2-year-old daughter. I don't know how true that is. My bear's falling over. I don't know how true that is, but he definitely did not want Carla to be found. So let me know in the comments below, what would you do in this situation? Like, how would you feel? Do you think the bridge is actually haunted? Have you ever been to Airtight Bridge? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching our first podcast. I know it was a little short. We wanted to kind of start a little bit shorter, and then I promise as the show gets bigger and going more, we'll get to a little bit longer stories, true crime, haunted history, anything like that. So please, if you guys have not, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time on the next Life of Ghost Hunters podcast. Good night.